For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Macabawam. Na suwe on Shandy na ba Shandy. Gasa boil ginger ale gasa. This is a man who was supporting. Hello. Tell them you were supporting Slavo when you were back now.
Yeah. You must. Good work. Say it. Good work.
You were supporting Slavo and now you with us.
Yes. Good work.
Tell them that.
So as the saying goes, it's basically, the culture in this part of the world, how you woo people, how you entice them into voting for you and ensuring that you win their support. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It's NewsSpin. I think we really need to take a break and try to see if we could rectify. I think it has been rectified. Okay, I'm being told by the producer that the problem has been rectified. So my apologies to you. I can't recap. So unfortunately, I will not be able to recap. That will just take a little too long to go through the process of informing you what was said earlier on. But I think as we go along, you will get the gist of the substance of the earlier part of this program. We want to hear from you right now at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026, as we are discussing the issues in the news and matters of concern to you. We have several WhatsApp messages from over the week, from Friday, that I'll be going through during the course of our program last week. So we have several of those messages that we are not able to go through. Somebody also, we've had a video in circulation, and I don't know if you can give credence to it, because the strangest things do happen in this part of the world, and sometimes you wonder whether you are being deceived, because you do not want to be responsible, act irresponsibly, and you also do not want to be malicious. But just watching a video of a section of the Urinary International Airport where apparently water is seeping through a roof, and you have some employees there. I don't know if I made a few calls. Apparently some people either cannot or unwilling to confirm whether it is indeed the Urinary International Airport. But if it is true, it is definitely a shame, considering we've been speaking about the redevelopment of our airport over several years now, and to no avail. So maybe somebody who's at that, who can verify, would be in a position to address that particular issue, can call as well. So we never limit you to any particular topic. Remember, you can call on any issue of concern. We have a call via WhatsApp. Let's see if we put this call on the air as we say hello.
Amanda, is her name?
Yes, Amanda. Yes. Good afternoon to you.
We have no sound on YouTube, and a lot of people are sending messages to you. So check it out. Check your technician and see if you can rectify that. Okay?
Okay. I thought it was rectified already. Is it? It's not rectified? I don't think it's as big.
It is on Facebook.
It is on, but we have sound on Facebook.
Oh well, not on YouTube. Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. Let us see if you have another call via WhatsApp. Hello and good afternoon to you on the air. Hello. Let's see if we can put the call on the air. Yes, good afternoon to you, caller. Hello.
Yeah. Yes, Tim, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Okay, when I said some time ago that this administration is treating Viewfort as a rubbish dump, you'd think it's a joke. That's exactly what they're treating Viewfort as. Okay? 4 years into your administration, you got a project going on. You stopped it, and you're not doing anything about it to the point of our airport is in that state. Okay? Remember when I spoke about the rubbish dump team? When Alan Chasney had closed the rubbish dump in Beaufort and started transporting rubbish to Deglo, the whole intention was that that thing would not be a permanent solution, but they were looking for an alternative spot in the south to use as a rubbish dump. Right? This administration came in. They have never tried or continued the process to get an alternative spot, but they kept on transporting rubbish to Deglo, and now Sean Edwards is on the TV talking about how this is costing the government $75,000 a month. But it is because of your incompetence that you refuse to continue what was started. Okay? If they had continued him, by now we would have had another rubbish dump somewhere in the south. You understand? And now you're going back, reopening the rubbish dump. You understand? Prime investment land. You reopening the rubbish dump, okay? And you coming and talking about how you have to pay $75,000 to a company that is transporting rubbish. But you choose to allow the company to transport rubbish for those 4 years, Tim. This Labour Party need to check themselves. You understand? They need to check themselves. And as right now, Kenny is trying to play a game in Beaufort because he does not want to say he's not going up. He does not want to say he's going up. You understand? Knowing Beaufortians are frustrated with him because for so many years as a prime minister, 15 years as a prime minister, and Beaufortians doesn't even know what a multi-purpose center is. A place where they can go and they'll get free service to host their meetings and do whatever. You understand? Beaufortians don't know what it is to have a proper investment, taking place in Beaufort that will generate revenue. Okay, the dock that was bringing all the the cargo ships basically closed down. You understand? There's barely anything taking place there. When that dock in Beaufort can hold 10 times the amount of containers that the Cashew port can hold him. You can put hundreds of containers in Beaufort without having to stack them one on top of the other. When you pass in Cashew by the port, you see how high they're stacking the containers. There's no space there. And you have a port like that in Beaufort that you keep isolated. You understand? And you telling me these fellas are for country? So à janvier for vie vote by Kenyo et pièce tout moun yo vie mourir là by les bas. Janvier for même pli pa honte. You understand? You can't tell me you have a community in that state and they're going to vote for you again. Anyway, si ma chance à vote by Philippe JP before ça vie fait. Have a good day, Tim.
You too, sir. Thank you so much for calling. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Again, 716-2026. And in a moment, Amanda will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. But we have another call via WhatsApp. As again, we say good afternoon to you. You're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon, Tim, and good afternoon, Amanda.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Good afternoon, caller.
Tim, over the weekend, because of all the rain, I had to stay home. And that gave me a chance to catch up on some of the news of the week. And one of the programs I revisited was Meet the Minister on Rev Up on Friday. On there was the current Prime Minister, Philippe J. And I picked out one thing in particular that I would like to speak about today. I'll be very brief, Tim. He said that to create economic activity when his government got in, things were bad, the coffers were empty. They had to turn to tourism, where St. Lucia had a comparative advantage. He said they used tourism to stimulate the economy because the world had just emerged from COVID and everyone wanted to travel. And that is why they expanded the tourism industry and as a lead sector of our economy. Now, Tim, I don't know if you are aware, or you're a journalist and you remember. This is the same Philippe J. Pierre, whilst he was leader of the opposition and during the campaign season of 2021. I think he sat with a journalist and he said that Alan Shastney was the only person in the world who thought that tourism was going to return the way it was before COVID. Are you aware of that statement, Tim?
Yeah, but Cole, I'm famous for playing that clip on several occasions. So I don't know why you're asking me if I'm aware. I've been playing the clip over the last few years, sir, on this same NewsSpin program.
Okay, so that just confirms that it is a truth. So Philip is telling us, the Prime Minister is telling us, in other words, that Alan Shastney had the foresight and the experience to know that people would want to explore and to travel all over after the COVID. Because Alan Shastney and Dominic Fede, the then Minister of Tourism, they were the ones who embarked on a robust marketing campaign to attract visitors to our shores. So again, it tells me that when you see the Labour Party and Philippe J. Pierre oppose any policy, whether it is good for the country, if it is good for the country, the fact that it comes from the mouth of Alan Shastney, that they will oppose it. And we cannot run an economy, we cannot run a country with that kind of dirty and nasty politics. He knows. This is the same Philippe J. Pierre team who said he does not know of any airport in the world where airports have upstairs and downstairs. But then he won the International Airport right there, Tim. It has 2 floors, it has a ground floor, and you go up the stairs, there's another floor. But these are the kind of things that these fellows say to try and fool people. Because they wanted to downsize the airport, and they know that the airport, the state-of-the-art airport, which Alan Shastney was about to build, they try to place in people's minds that we don't need big airports. But these fellows travel all over the world every day. They crisscross each other in the air. And the airports that they go to, they have jet bridges, they have many 3, 4, 5, 6 floors. So why is it that you want to come and tell people that you've never seen an airport with upstairs and downstairs? That is actually fooling people. But that statement that he made on Meet the Minister, that just shows Tim, why this Philip J. Pierre, they just oppose Alan Shastney for opposing sake, and they know that the policies that he has embarked upon has been good for the country. That is my contribution.
Thank you so much for sharing it with us. 4522979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let me see if I have a WhatsApp message to go through. Please bear with me while we go through the various contributions. I think maybe you could go to Amanda. Let's find out what is happening in the chat room right now as we say hello and good afternoon to Amanda. Let's find out if we have any comments in the chat room to go through. Good afternoon to you, Amanda.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, NewsSpinners. A few comments from the chat room. Someone says here, Tim, it's frustrating that our traffic department continues to issue tickets without a proper understanding of the law. Take Clark Street in VA4. For years, there's been no visible double yellow line near the Bank of St. Lucia ATM, yet drivers are still being ticketed there. Why are the police enforcing rules that aren't clearly marked or even legally valid? We pay road tax for safe, well-maintained roads with proper signage, but we get none of that. The roads are a mess, markings are faded or missing, and some officers themselves park wherever they like. Where's the leadership? Why are we funding a traffic system that seems broken, while the ones enforcing it don't even follow it? Who's really watching the gatekeepers? Another commentary reads, Richard should know that would be the talk. That was not professional. Someone says here, good afternoon, HIA is getting worse during this rain. Another comment reads, elected officials should operate by a code of ethics. What happened was nothing shy of embarrassing, and some will justify those actions, all in the name of political affiliation. Someone says there the SLP has a problem when Shah stopped at the hospital, but the blasted SLP hypocrites has no problem with PJP stopping the airports. Another comment says here, have you seen the state of the SLTA booth at HIA? It's a disgrace. The Ministry of Tourism should really pay attention to those small details. And Team and NewsSpinner says here, I am not sure how much more neglect VA Fortunes would like because KDA is a field rep and Prime Minister. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for that update. Let's get some more of your calls and your WhatsApp messages. Once again, the landline is 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Again, 716-2026. Okay, somebody says there via WhatsApp, hello, Tim, I believe most of these problems our country has is because of us, the people. Will need to stand for something. Okay, let's see if we have another message to go through. Okay, I think we have a call on the landline. Let's turn our attention to that call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Timothy.
Good afternoon. Is that the elusive Nancy Charles?
I'm not too sure why I am being called elusive, but yes, it is.
Okay. Good afternoon to you, ma'am.
How are you, Tim?
I am okay. How about you?
I'm doing well. Timothy, I was calling to find out from you. In your statement, you said you're waiting for either the authorities or someone to confirm that the videos you saw circulating with reference to Hiranora International Airport, they are actually videos of the airport. So who exactly are you waiting to get confirmation from?
Well, you have
somebody from the government or somebody from authority from the airport?
Not necessarily. Somebody from the St. Lucia Air and Seaports Authority would do.
Okay, so would my word suffice? Because Timothy, I came into that airport. I was out for a while, so just so you know.
Okay.
Been out for a little while, a couple of months, and I came in last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I came in through the airport. And when I arrived, it was raining. And I'm sure you saw another video circulating of a Jamaican.
Yes.
Making fun of us climbing down the steps, etc., etc., etc. But when I arrived,
you think he was being sarcastic, Connor?
Of course he was. Of course he was. But I'm calling to verify that the pictures circulating are actually true, because when I arrived, it was raining.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. And so we had to disembark the flight in the rain. And you should have seen the reaction of the visitors who were on that aircraft, because it was kind of a little bit sunshiny, and as soon as the plane landed, it started to drizzle, and then the rain started pouring, and we had to get out in the rain. I had to put my jacket and my hoodie, and people who are working at the airport who saw me, who welcomed me home, would tell you that. It was raining, and I had to put my hoodie to get out because I didn't have an umbrella, and people were actually running off in the rain. But not only that, when I arrived, people took me to the front after I got my luggage and I came out. Some persons took me to show me the water dripping from the ceiling of the airport. Wow. So I can confirm, Timothy, that this is actually true.
So, Mr. Producer, maybe what we can do, Mr. Producer, show the video of this actually.
Sorry?
No, not you. Referring it to the producer. Maybe you could show the actual video while you comment. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. And I'm a St. Lucian. I'm a proud St. Lucian. And I don't know that is what I would want to portray of my country, but that is the fact, and that is the state of the Hiranora International Airport. We call it an international airport, Timothy. And I think a lot of callers have been calling about the Prime Minister and the statements that he made, even the caller prior who asked you whether you were aware of the statement, and you said you're very much aware because you've played it over and over again. I want St. Lucians to understand, politicians, and I'm making a broad statement, I'm a supporter, a member of the United Workers' Party. I support Alan Chasney as the leader, and I think we have the better plan and the better vision for this country. But I'm also a St. Lucian, Timothy, and I'm saying that we as St. Lucians We have to sit down and analyze what politicians say to us in the name of politics, trying to get our vote by lying to the people of St. Lucia. And I use that term lying, Timothy, because sometimes people know something to be true, but deliberately tell you something else, and that means that they are lying or deceiving the people of St. Lucia. The Prime Minister was the one who said that Alan Chastanet was the only person in the world who thought that after COVID that people would travel again, etc. And when he came into office very early, even while in opposition, he said that it was too much money being spent on the airport. Why, Timothy? Because remember, the financing of the airport, whilst we took a loan, the financing was not coming from our money per se. The financing was coming from the tax that was being imposed on the passenger tax from the airport. That is how the loan was being paid. And I want St. Lucians to remember that. C'est pas l'argent nous qui te ka paye loan airport là. C'est l'argent tax passager, moun qui te ka vini ek patient paye l'argent yo nous te ka servi pour nous te sa paye loan pour paye Taiwan loan tala. Is the passenger tax money we were using, Timothy. And the Prime Minister said that because of COVID, the projected number of passengers that we had projected that would be coming in, because we projected a gradual increase, and it showed that they would be able to cover the loan payments. He said it was not going to happen because of COVID. You remember that, Timothy?
Yes, I can recall.
And that was his rationale for saying that the airport was too big, too much money, etc. And this is the same Prime Minister, less than 3 years later, is the same Prime Minister boasting that the tourism numbers have come back. The tourism numbers have come back post-2019. Albeit we know that's not true. But it is the same Prime Minister who's boasting that in less than 2.5 to 3 years that those numbers have come back, the same numbers you said that we would never achieve. So as St. Lucians, Timothy, I want us to really think. Don't think UWP and Labour. Think who has the best vision, who is being truthful, who's being honest with you as St. Lucians, who is trying the utmost to ensure that our projects are being financed and there is a means of financing it. Because I want us to remember that as well, Timothy. I don't want to take too long on your show, but I want us to remember that when Alan Chastanet was in office, every new project, including the roads, every new project that we attempted, the first thing was, what is the source of financing? We did not want to increase taxes. We did not want to ensure that we were putting a burden on the people of St. Lucia. So we found creative ways of financing those projects. And the airport was one of them. And for the Prime Minister on Friday to come on a show and say that they did not stop the airport project, when every blind man in St. Lucia can see that the Prime Minister and the St. Lucia Labour Party stopped the airport project. We are going into the 5th year and they are getting ready for next general election. And there's no story, no excuse that can be given as to why that project was stopped. The airport project have not recommenced. Let me give you a little story before I close, Timothy. Do you know the piles, the millions of dollars of piles that the Prime Minister claimed that we had put and that he removed? So we paid to put the piles. He said the airport was too big. He paid to remove the piles. Do you know where or who has the piles right now?
If you know, tell me.
There are some people in the South who are involved in metal. I don't know if you've heard of the metal trade, where they get scrap metal, etc., and they ship it for money, etc., etc. That's where the piles are. The piles that we paid money for to put in, the Prime Minister of this country and the Labour Party paid money to take it out because they say it was too much. It is now being given away to be shipped as scrap metal. That's our money. That's our money.
To be confirmed.
Timothy, I just want to say to you that I am here. I'm back. St. Lucians, I am back. I'm not being elusive. I was out of state and I did say that I was traveling for a while. So you will be hearing a little bit more of my voice very soon.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you so much. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called NewsSpin. There's a high-profile case that we'll be providing you an update on during the course of our program this afternoon. The broadcast will continue.
You know that feeling when you have an uncontrollable desire for fried chicken? That's the KFC. A substance that stimulates your senses to identify the aroma of our secret recipe or an extra crispy crunch from any distance. It's invisible to the naked eye, but you can feel it traveling throughout your body, taking control. All so you can enjoy a juicy bite of KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Too often, customers are counted but not valued. Like mere numbers, statistics, transactions. But at Flow, we're prioritizing you, our valued customers who have been with us through every milestone, every moment. That's why we're putting our money where your loyalty is. Flow customers claim up to $400 in rewards for smartphones, groceries, and more when you add mobile to your current internet plan. Because loyalty isn't a one-way street. At Flow, loyalty flows both ways.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road, V4 at 454-6555.
NewsSelect wishes to advise customers and the public that its customer service office at the Carolick building in San Souci is temporarily closed to facilitate urgent maintenance. The NewsSelect Rodney Bay and Vieux-Fort offices are open to serve customers. Customers who wish to make payments during this closure are encouraged to access the My Account service at myaccount.newselect.com. Sure pays online and walk-in service options or participating financial institutions. Payments made via SurePay and My Account Direct on weekdays from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. will be processed to customer accounts the same day. Payments made after 4 p.m. will be processed the next business day. For account balances, please dial the automated account inquiry service line at 457-4433. Customers can access other NewsSelect services by using the virtual service desk at newselect.com. The management of NewsSelect deeply regrets any inconvenience caused by these closures and thanks its valued customers for their patience and understanding.
Looking for amazing deals on tiles? Mark your calendars. Every last Thursday of the month, the Tile Gallery is offering up to 50% off on selected tiles. Whether you are renovating your kitchen, updating your bathroom, or giving your entire home a fresh new look, now is the time to transform your space and save big. Enjoy up to 50% off on selected tiles. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to upgrade your home without breaking the bank. Visit M&C Home Depot and Sunbelt locations for more details. Terms and conditions may apply.
They say that getting an MRI abroad is more affordable. But once you add the ferry, travel insurance, hotel, meals, ground transport, and the cost to translate your report when you return, it quickly becomes more expensive and far more stressful. And what if the machine is down or your appointment is cancelled upon arrival? Right here in St. Lucia, you have immediate access to La Clinique de Corps, the MRI Center of Reference in the Caribbean, offering 1.5 Tesla MRI technology powered by artificial intelligence for exceptional diagnostic accuracy where no detail is missed and your health receives the precision that it deserves. Take charge today because your health can't wait. La Clinique de Corps, trusted, local, world class.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
But that's my contribution, Tim.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. And people are still complaining, saying they're not hearing the broadcast. We will try to rectify it. Please bear with us because our usual producer is not feeling too well today. I suspect that's why we're experiencing that kind of problem. But we will try desperately to remedy it. And I know how you feel. You're feeling frustrated and you're feeling that you're missing out, but we'll try to rectify it as soon as possible. 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let's see if you have a call on the landline. Good afternoon to you. You're on the air. Hello. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Bon après-midi, plus dangereux weapon of mass destruction, tous les deux partisans en politique, ça qui c'est ici, casse-tête, by correspondance, c'est un pour nous bout qui vont approcher ou commencer par l'administration, nous qui en pouvoir aider pour continuer à tirer ces cas de budget. Oui, ça, gars, c'est dit, moi, s'il ne pas sorti plein politique, ça, c'est un bagage qui fait solution pour problème, comme quand, toi, qui vont te ou pas, KSP. Mais, regardez comment, Si vous mettez ça, ouais, qui a la pays, c'est pas rien qui peut. On peut plus gérer des politiques qui y a dans la terre. Qui mettez quand même deux diamètres qui mettez la politique. Deux partis de ça, ouais, qui là, c'est deux partis qui a fait le critère de lui. Et puis, c'est le paradis, là, il y a commerce, là, on a pas de presté. Ouais, c'est swing votant là, et puis c'est gément là qui a les échelles de vote là. C'est eux qui a disparu des partis ça dans l'élection à venir là. À un moment avant Donald Trump gouvernement, Donald Trump va pouvoir, il a regardé son criminel. On dit à une gouvernement ça va venir là. Pour des proportions, moun pas qu'à point, moun pas pichon bon. Je sais qu'il y a l'aspect des partis de ça avec des joueurs de c'est quoi. C'est pour ça qui va dépendre quand tu fais cette élection quand tu es pas ouais. Ça fait jouer pas jouer leader nous qui habitués ça fait. C'est ça moi vous dis ça.
Okay. Merci beaucoup tout bonnement. Thank you so much for calling 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages at 716-2026, 716-2026. A WhatsApp message, somebody says the Wasco is becoming unbearable, a total mess with the water management. This from December of last year, we have been experiencing water shortages at Beauséjour. Days before Xmas, no water. When we received the Monday after New Year's was gone. Since then, with the exception of March, we have been with more days without water than there is. The situation has worsened recently with the lame excuses of a leak in the tank, a breakdown of the mains, the area too high to receive water, etc., etc. Wasco needs to know they are providing a service and not storage. For the last 3 weeks, including today, water comes at nearly 8 on a Sunday evening and shut off by Monday into Tuesday. How am I to store when the taps are always without water? Then Wasco has the audacity to produce a bill. That's where I await the bill reflection. How can Wasco make a profit? And they want investors to come and set up hotels to pay high water trucking costs. They need to purge out the square pegs in round holes. We have a call via the landline. Good afternoon. Okay, what does that call? Let's see if you have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm okay, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, Tim. Tim, did you notice? Remember the last election? There was this particular minister, Richard Frederick. He stated that he has thousands and thousands of files, and every project the UWP put out, he has files on them. It's corruption and whatnot and whatnot. Tim, have you noticed any opposition leader has been arrested? Isn't there a special prosecutor picking up the role to do those investigations?
Caller, you know the answer to that question, so I don't know why you're asking me. You know the answer to the question.
So the answer is yes, there's a special prosecutor. But now my thing is, Tim, and nowadays, Tim, I'm even noticing that the opposition political members are even challenging the Richard Frederick and Philip J. Pierre to court. I heard Guy Joseph recently challenging Richard Frederick. I challenge you to bring me to court. Look, Alan Chasney has Ernest Hill in court because of CIP. So my thing is, Tim, where is those files today? But one thing that we do know, Tim, is that Philip J. Pierre gave Richard Frederick $10 million to build condos down in Cul-de-sac. He was down there with Joachim. Then something happened. He said he couldn't have those condos down there. He's going to put it in.
If I can remember, I don't think it was for condos. I think that was part of a project where the Taiwanese would have made contributions to that project, as well as the government of St. Lucia, and that is to rehabilitate houses on the island, certain homes, not reconstruct, not construct new homes, but to rehabilitate them, to repair them, in effect.
Tim, you're not speaking like that, because when Richard Frederick was speaking, it was like the $10 million was to build the condos as well, It is 4 years later, we don't have no condos as well. The Bonanza land, when you sell the thing below the marketing price, and that's not the price, and all what had happened with the Bonanza land. So what I'm just trying to say, Tim, is that this man said he has millions of files, nobody's been arrested or charged or anything, and he is now in return is doing things that is very questionable, and the opposition is challenging him to go to court. So I believe those guys has just won the last election on a whole lie and gamble, and it is the St. Lucian people who are paying for all what is happening today. So you know what is going to happen? It is continuously more drinking, more bacchanal, and then the thing is just going to go like a cycle. No politician is going to be held accountable. Nothing is going to happen. I'm just waiting to see what's really going to happen with CIP and all the scandals that has been plagued from the time of Kenny Anthony all down to what we are facing here today. And I just want to say the Labour Party probably has cost this country over $10 billion in scandals, from Rochamel to Frenwell to Grangberg to Jafali to CIP to the stopping of the airport to the selling of our seaport and our airports. Billions of dollars going to waste. I thank you, Tim.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. And the seaport was leased for 30 years, sir, in the first instance, and with an option to renew for an additional 10 years. 4522979. Let's see if we have another call on the landline. Good afternoon. You're on the air. Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon to you and your listeners all over the world. PW on the line, Timothy.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
Timothy, let me refer to your last caller when he said that, and you said that Richard Frederick was given money to repair houses. That's what you said, Timothy?
You were not listening to the show, sir? Weren't you listening?
I was listening to the show.
Yeah, but don't ask me what I said, because that's rhetorical, sir. You heard what I said. Don't ask me what I said.
I know you're hashing me.
No, it's not hash. It's not hash, sir. Don't ask me obvious questions. That's what I said. You listened to the program. That's what you heard.
Like anybody else, I just wanted to clarify what you said, Timothy. You understand? This is what I want to clarify, what you said. This is one of the best ways to launder money, and this is one of the best ways to actually take money from the government, and this is one of the best ways to have corruption in the country.
Yeah, but caller, what you said there, this is the best way to launder money?
Yes.
Yeah, do we have any evidence of this?
I never said any particular person has laundered money, but I am just saying this is the best way for anybody with repairing houses and with no accountability. This money, every cent of it can never be accounted for. Because there's so many rooms.
Well, let's put it this way. There ought to be checks and balances with regard to how state funds are being utilized.
There wasn't a check and balance for the St. Jude Hospital. You want there to be checks and balances for to repair houses, Timothy?
I'm just saying there ought to be checks and balances.
Where are the checks and balances? Have they presented the checks and balances for you? This is one of the best ways to get money out of the government, to actually tell the government this costs X, Y, and Z, and it never costs that, to get money out of the government and for people to put money in their pocket. This is a recipe for that. So I will not go down that road. You understand? No minister should not be directly involved in any housing project, as far as I'm concerned. A contractor should be given a contract to be involved in a housing project, but no minister shouldn't be directly involved in it.
Well, caller, hold on. I don't know that any minister is directly involved in a project of that nature, sir. I have no evidence of that.
But his ministry was given.
The ministry
is in control of the money.
And the ministry has a PS, an accounting officer, to look after things of that nature. And I don't know the process. What process was utilized with regard to that particular project? So we need some clarification, explanation on that particular. Hold on, please. Hold on. We need some clarification on this particular issue. But I don't want us to make assumptions, sir. Let's be very careful.
But how long will it take to get a clarification on that, Timothy?
Well, we need to demand it. We need to demand it. But we ought not to be making those kind of statements.
What I call to discuss, Timothy, is the St. Jude project, Timothy. And I'm seeing, according to the latest report, even when it comes to the latest report concerning St. Jude, I realize that the consultancy fee, nobody can tell you how much money that is going to the consultants when it comes to the St. Jude Hospital. Nobody's telling you. And this is why Philip JPN never placed an amount on how much the St. Jude Hospital would cost. 25 buildings, Timothy. Could you imagine that? Who has to actually pay for it? Was the generators, was it the generators that had cost $10,000, which Renault said it was absolute, or was it the AC units? $10 million. Who ordered that in the first place, Timothy? Who ordered these absolute machines in the first place that cannot be used after so many years, Timothy? Who ordered that? And it is just when we watch the whole project, Timothy, it is a build as we go. That is why when one minister comes and say there isn't a blueprint for the hospital, there isn't a plan that the housing or planning has approved, it is just a build as we go. So I have no confidence, Timothy, in the whole bureaucracy of this government. I want to know, are we going to be in debt to Renault? You see that? When the hospital is completed, because the way it's going on now, that hospital will cost more than $100 to $150 million out of the $201 million we have borrowed from the Saudis. And what will be left to take to the stadium, to finish up the stadium? This is what I see, Timothy. This is what I can see between the lines. I read between the lines, from consultancy fees to the 25 buildings, build as we go. And are we going to be in debt to Renault when the hospital finish? So we have to pay a loan and be in debt to Renault, because that's how things are going on. I would like the government to come and clarify all these things that I've mentioned today on your program. Come to clarify it. Come on NewsSpin. Come come also on your program on television on Wednesday to clarify all these things, because then we need to get some more answers when it comes to the St. Jude Hospital. Timothy, I thank you.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. We have a WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, this caller is so right in what he's saying. There is no transparency in the housing sector. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, I have it from concrete sources that the Grand Riviere Health Center was robbed over the weekend. That's near Jugbois' home. Nurses and other staff opened the place this morning and saw a total mess. I'm not sure what is missing yet, but this is a developing story. Nurses are currently still cleaning up from the break-in after investigators completed their duties. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let's find out from Amanda what is happening in the chat room.
A few comments from earlier, Tim. Someone says, God forbid someone gets electrocuted in that situation. Another comment reads, when you tell me that the only way a government sees that they can develop a country is by selling citizenship, leasing a very important part of the country, then we must come to the conclusion that it is a very lazy government that will not fully go out in search of assistance from other countries in order to help develop his country. There are still question marks where the CIP and the GPH is concerned, but we have a prime minister that is treating these issues like someone who's putting a clean pamper on a baby who messed up on themselves without cleaning them up. Another comment reads, visitors are laughing at our airport. A NewsSpinner says there, I'm not sure how much more neglect before. Okay, I read that already. That's it for now, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. You are on the air.
Good afternoon to Amanda.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
Some time ago, I called concerning some money that was in the revolving fund and in the government fund of the BPIP, that's the Banana Project.
Yes.
And I said, when I left office, there were $2 million in that fund. Can you recall that?
Yes. Now, when you say that when you left office, in what capacity?
As an inventory clerk.
At a particular institution?
Yes, sir.
What was it? A credit union, a banana organization?
No. I said that was the Banana Project of the Ministry of Agriculture.
Okay, ma'am. Continue.
Okay. I said there was 900,000 in the revolving fund and 1.1 million that was in the government fund. When I spoke, the minister confronted me and he said that money was used for the Taiwanese to buy a vehicle, which I know that the Taiwanese fund the Ministry of Agriculture, not the Ministry of Agriculture funding the Taiwanese, right?
We'll have to seek clarification on this one. No, I'm hearing you. I said we have to seek clarification on this one. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me tell you. Well, find out clarification now. After all the bleeding of the Taiwanese, now the government, the present government of St. Lucia, the Labour Party government, have the mind in the eve of election to bring in Chinese and drop the Taiwanese. Is this not shameful?
Now, we have not received any word from, let's say, the Ministry of External Affairs on this. We have not heard from the Prime Minister of this. What we are hearing, we can describe as heresy. Do you agree? Because until we heard from those people of authority.
I agree, Tim.
Right.
But what the minister said, that I have no evidence about what I spoke. But I'm telling him that I do not have evidence, but we have evidence and constructive evidence that what I said was true. And because I am a yellow person, that was why I am victimized. You cannot have everybody supporting
one political party.
There have to be. Hence the reason why he now is a red man in the Labour Party as a Minister of Agriculture. So he want to criticize me for wearing my yellow shirt. Everybody know I am a yellow girl, just like he was a red boy, right? So tell him, do not study my yellowness, study his redness, and to see how can he win the next election, the next coming election in Dennery South. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for your contribution. We have another call online. This time it's Rick Wayne via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. You on the air, Rick?
Tim, I don't know what your callers, boy. Your people on the chat room and other people sending messages. 1 minute they tell me how you give me special advantages. You even have to make excuses. And next thing they're calling to me, pleading with me to tell you to go easy on certain people, accusing you of not having some goodies at the weekend, all kinds of stuff.
Unfortunately, because I have some technical issues from my end, I cannot see what is being. I cannot read. Sorry, what is being said.
I enjoy your chat room. Is most enjoyable.
It's very.
They love you, but they do the same to me.
It's a very lively
more
chat room.
Regularly to me.
Yeah.
But Tim, let me say this. You can't help really feeling very sorry for most St. Lucians, because some of us are not as easily touched. But what we are hearing from all these people, Tim, we must be very careful, all of us, about not dismissing it. I don't want to use the word dismiss, or necessarily categorizing it as heresy and therefore useless. Because he'll say, hey, you can't do nothing with that, etc., etc.
Yeah,
I am hearing
we cannot totally dismiss certain things, Rick, but you would know that we have to be extremely careful. Because,
I'm well aware of that. I'm well aware.
Because there are some people.
I'm very well aware.
Hold on, Rick. There are some people. They'll tell you, "What telling you radio? Associate what telling you radio? If you understand? So we have to be very careful." Go ahead.
But you see, these things apply in the way you put it there to private citizens. But we are allowing our politicians who owe us accountability and telling us instead, F off, who tell us that's none of your business, who tell us I have to ask so and so. We cannot get answers, straightforward answers from our politicians. Our questions are not even being entertained. We don't have a situation of, like we used to have, government having at least two press conferences a month and open themselves to all kinds of questions. What a wonderful time that was. And I don't think we appreciated that enough. In particular, the Kenny Anthony administration.
Yes.
You know about that.
I can recall. I remember.
Those were fantastic times that, in retrospect, we have to say we didn't appreciate.
We took it for granted, Rick. We did.
Yes, because it's normal.
But I was on record, and that was to your chagrin. I was on record as having said, "Boy, we have a free press, and this is being facilitated by the government of the day." I mean, your argument at the time was they owe us that. But I also said then.
What was my argument?
Your argument was they owe us that. They're not doing us a favor.
Yeah.
But I also remember saying that John Compton could have as well be transparent and accommodating of the media. And he used his leverage, he used his power, basically to stifle freedom of the press. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, because I was an attempted victim of that. Whatever you want to say about the Kenny Anthony administration in the first
term, yes,
at least the first term, was he afforded us a lot of leeway, answered questions. Kenny Anthony actually took reporters to his home to prove to them that he was not living in palatial circumstances.
Yes.
Remember that?
I remember.
I remember telling him, in a private moment, saying, "What the hell are you doing? Inviting people to come and see your home, how big your bedroom is." That's ridiculous. But that's how far it went. And we, like I said, we did not appreciate that as much as we. You never miss whatever it is till the well runs dry.
Speak for yourself,
so
Rick.
When this lady...
Rick, speak for yourself. You did not appreciate it. But I did.
Good, all right. Okay. Maybe you wanted to see the man's bed. I don't know. So, in any case, the people of this country, I don't consider the things they call and talk about in your show hearsay. I consider it concern. And the people have a legitimate constitutional right to speculate on how their government is how they say their government running and not getting, and to speculate just so long as they don't apply motives beyond the pale. You know what I'm saying? You can't go calling a man a thief just because you haven't heard so and so. So there are ways of getting around to it because we are owed accountability and transparency by our Constitution. The sick joke is we have no access to the rights afforded most of us by the Constitution. We have no access to that. Now, having beautiful mangoes hanging up, then you can't reach the mangoes. And so the birds will take care of them or somebody else. It's a very sick ride. So the matter of hearsay, it all depends on what it's about. If, for example, you get a caller saying that it was pouring rain and the rain was flooding the floor at Humanora and so on, you might correctly say, well, where are the pictures? And that's hearsay and so on and so on. But that's a public place, and a person making a public complaint, we pay a lot of money for the government to put our minds at rest. We pay a lot of money for the government to put our minds at rest. But more often than not, the people who are paid to keep us in the loop are calling to cuss us out and calling us names and whatever, and we tolerate that bullshit. So the people of this country are being trampled underfoot. And I say again, the opposition has to break some norms to do its job. I heard, what's his name, Gonzalez talking on some video and pointing to the fact that the opposition gets paid. The pittance they get paid, that's not the point. But they get paid and they undertake a certain job. And they cannot be seen to be super gentlemen when they're just being treated like frogs with no say just because their numbers are few. But then again, we have not trained our people to understand that regardless who is in the opposition, if we are supporters of the opposition, every time the opposition is spat at in his face, it is to be taken that every single one of us who support the opposition was spat in the face. Are you with me, Tim?
Definitely.
Because that's what the opposition party is doing. It is representing all those callers who are concerned and whatever and whatever. And I think, too, those people should be putting pressure on the opposition to take up things in their behalf while in opposition, because it is an indication when you're in opposition and you don't and you appear not to care. The people have every right to believe if you were in government, you would do the same.
The thing is, Rick, you know, the people who are myopic and the people who do not see the necessity for opposition in this country would even tell you, especially if they're a supporter of the government and the St. Lucia Labour Party, that it will be to the benefit of the people of St. Lucia and the entire society if the SLP wins all 17 seats. And they do not see, Rick, they do not see the danger in that. Because, I'm telling you, Rick, from observation, I've said it before, that the government of St. Lucia, the SLP, is emboldened by the kind of majority that it has in the island's parliament. Okay, they can't look over the shoulder to see who will cross the floor, who will be dismissive of the leadership of Philip J. Pierre, etc. Everything is a certainty for them as far as the kind of support that they enjoy in the island's parliament. But there is a danger in that if you mismanage the power that you have at your disposal. If not mismanage, but if you abuse it, that could be the detriment of the wider society.
All you have to do is feed them liquor. By the way, Tim, just to get off that one, are you aware that in most civilized, what we call civilized countries, that there are very strict regulations regarding the consumption of alcoholic beverages in public places, like the parks, on the street, a place like the boulevard, sitting there.
It happens
on the
even Rick, outside your home. Those of us who have traveled to the United States, you experience that. You can't sit outside of your home or your apartment.
Anywhere in the open spaces,
alcohol, yeah?
You cannot sit out there drinking booze, like on the transport or even going to a movie house. There are strict regulations to that.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, where there are no regulations, it's only because the companies have rules for themselves. In other words, if you're an agent for a particular beer and you are drinking beer on TV or whatever, the person who sold you that beer will stop doing business with them, you know?
Yeah.
They police themselves. But Tim, when you have ministers of government in their campaign celebrating or campaigning on TV with people who by all accounts look inebriated, when they talk they sound inebriated, but quite apart from maybe they're not inebriated, according to most laws, you can't have that kind of stuff on TV because you want to, it's like having porn on TV. You want to protect the young. There are a lot of reasons why alcohol consumption and drunk people or inebriated looking people are not permitted by law in a number of countries, civilized countries. There are a lot of reasons for that. We don't care. We don't care. Is there anything you can think of right now that we have not sunk to in this country?
But is there anything new about people consuming alcohol in public at various functions or political activities?
It's very new. It's very new to see it being done on the internet. Our St. Lucians, politicians, and members of government being seen all over the world in such situations. It's very new. It's novel. Never seen that before. We know we have a lot of drunks around the place, inebriated people lying in the boulevard, and that shouldn't be. But I don't know we have laws for that. We don't have. I don't know we have laws for that. I can't find any laws for that unless you behave in a threatening way, etc. I don't think that we have any laws stopping you being absolutely drunk in the boulevard. We can't even nail people who are drunk driving, Tim. You are aware of that?
Yeah.
And I will end on this note. The Prime Minister stated several times, number one, and I backed him up, you remember that? When he talked about the ginger ale. I backed him up on that, despite everybody on my case.
Yeah.
Right. And he said, I refuse to buy rum for anybody. I refuse to give you rum. I'll buy you some ginger ale, etc. He got hell. I backed him up. I also back him up when he says that a lot of the congestion at the hospital is in consequence of drunk driving, victims of drunk driving, domestic violence that involves drunk men and so on and so on. Not to talk about the impact of booze on diabetes. What do you call it? Second diabetes? What do you call it?
Hypertension?
Diabetes?
Yeah.
Diabetes and hypertension and so on, the impact of booze on that, all of which put a heavy burden on government, on our taxes, on our hospital institutions, on our nurses, when the hospital is full, all that kind of stuff. So to see a campaign, what looks to me like a campaign with booze being the most obvious factor, judging by what the glasses, the bottles, and what sounds to me like inebriated talk, and so on and so on. I mean, we've never seen this before. Luckily, I don't know, somebody must have advised somebody, because I think it was eventually pulled off. So it disappeared. But I'm sure a lot of people have copies and clips of it. And these things go on without comment from anybody. Now, there's some complaint in your chat room, but the numbers indicate to me what is obvious, we are a drunken, alcoholic nation. We are number 2, I think, isn't it?
In the world,
number 2
for the consumption
of alcohol per capita.
I think it's a particular drink. In Campari, I think, number 2.
Campari, well,
yeah.
I have read booze. Okay, consumers of alcohol. Okay, and that's not just today. It's been for a while. So if we are so high in our consumption of alcohol, and we obviously, because that's how the Jufali thing came in, we actually had to qualify for Jufali to want to set up what the center is going to do, the Addison Center.
Yeah, a research center.
We had to qualify in terms of percentage numbers who had it, and we qualified highly, So I don't know if it is because we are all a nation of drunks, a nation of alcoholics, that it doesn't bother our sensibilities at all to see people behaving so low class, have high officials behaving low class on TV with a bunch of people. I mean, I don't know, Tim. I don't know. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called NewsSpin. Still to come, We remember this incident which occurred in Grenada some time ago involving an American couple who were, the wife was raped, the husband was beaten. In the end, both of them were murdered. 3 men at the center of a high-profile kidnapping and double murder case involving those 2 American retirees have entered guilty pleas. That is on Friday. We have a report that we'll be sharing with you in just a moment, so please stay with the broadcast.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
You know that feeling when you have uncontrollable desire for fried chicken? That's the KFC. A substance that stimulates your senses to identify the aroma of our secret recipe or an extra crispy crunch from any distance. It's invisible to the naked eye, but you can feel it traveling throughout your body, taking control. All so you can enjoy a juicy bite of KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Loose leg customers are advised that from Monday the 19th of May until the 26th of May, an island-wide meter replacement campaign will be undertaken. This is at no additional cost to customers. This is part of Luceleg's ongoing commitment to providing safe, reliable, and efficient service. The new meters will ensure continued accuracy in customer usage readings and ensure that services continue to meet the highest standards. Customers with meters scheduled for replacement will receive a Luceleg notice at least 48 hours before. On the day of the replacement, a uniformed Luceleg technician with proper identification will undertake the work, which is generally estimated to take less than 30 minutes. To ensure a smooth process, customers are encouraged to ensure that there is a clear and unobstructed path to their meter. All questions or queries concerning this meter change should be addressed to the Luceleg customer service team at 457-4440 or the metering section at 457-4607. Luceleg thanks their valued customers for their cooperation, understanding, and support throughout the process.
Looking for amazing deals on tiles? Mark your calendars. Every last Thursday of the month, the Tile Gallery is offering up to 50% off on selected tiles. Whether you are renovating your kitchen, updating your bathroom, or giving your entire home a fresh new look, now is the time to transform your space and save big. Enjoy up to 50% off on selected tiles. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to upgrade your home without breaking the bank. Visit M&C Home Depot and Sunbelt locations for more details. Terms and
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay. Flow is keeping you connected.
They say that getting an MRI abroad is more affordable. But once you add the ferry, travel insurance, hotel, meals, ground transport, and the cost to translate your report when you return, it quickly becomes more expensive and far more stressful. And what if the machine is down or your appointment is cancelled upon arrival? Right here in St. Lucia, you have immediate access to La Clinique de Corps, the MRI Center of Reference in the Caribbean, offering 1.5 Tesla MRI technology powered by artificial intelligence for exceptional diagnostic accuracy where no detail is missed and your health receives the precision that it deserves. Take charge today because your health can't wait. La Clinique de Corps, trusted, local, world class.
Don't tell me that tire flat again.
I just changed that tire.
Wait, what? You just changed that tire?
Well, I bought a used one because you didn't give me enough money.
Oh, I see. Well, you know what? Chivi's Tire Shop only carry brand new quality tires at affordable prices with free installation.
Hey, it seems you're working at Chivi's Tire Shop. How you know all that?
Come on, Brenda. The tire shop down the road from our home in the American Drywall Building.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Well, you know what, Patrick? Let's go there right now. Take your wallet. Let's go.
Chivi's Tire Shop, located at the American Drywall Building, Vic Butay. Call or WhatsApp 584-5986. Chivi's Tire Shop. Pay less, drive more.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Hey, St. Lucians, this is the moment that you have been waiting for. St. Lucia! St. Lucian Massive, come out and celebrate with us. Learn about your libido, your energy, learn about your gut microbiome and why it is your center of health. Are you tired of taking pills for everything? Boy, I'm tired of them something that don't work. Come out and have fun with some of the top health experts and elite performer, Mr. McCasey and Nika, the chemist himself, Dr. St. Rose, and other entrepreneurs. Taste all of the products. Free admission, free prizes, and light refreshments will be available. Mark your calendars, June 3rd, 2025. Registration starts at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. The main event is at 6:30 p.m. at the Financial Center, Point Seraphine. Listen, miss it and blame yourself. You gotta have guts in this world. Message Vanessa Cox on WhatsApp at 347-204-7670 to RSVP and for your free gift. Boom.
St. Andrew residents Ron Mitchell, Trevon Robertson, and Atiba Stanislaus, who gained international attention in February 2024 after escaping lawful custody and fleeing to St. Vincent aboard a stolen yacht, now await sentencing on a total of 2 indictments arising from the deaths of Ralph Hendry and Kathy Brendel. The prosecution is led by Director of Public Prosecutions Christopher Nelson KC, who indicated the Crown's intention to proceed on capital murder indictments when the matter came up for arraignment before Senior High Court Judge Justice Paula Guilford on Friday at the St. George's No. 1 High Court. The men were charged with capital murder in connection with the deaths of Hendry, 66, and Brandel, 71, between February 18th and 21 last year. The trio were offered lesser charges after being initially slapped with capital murder. Mitchell pleaded guilty to non-capital murder, while Robertson and Stanislaus both pleaded guilty to manslaughter. All three also pleaded guilty to multiple additional charges, including housebreaking for illegally entering the yacht where the couple resided in Grand Anse, robbery with violence involving the theft of the yacht, valued at over 1 million EC dollars, kidnapping of the American couple, and rape of Kathy Brandel, to which Stanislaus alone pleaded guilty. Representing the accused men were Jerry Edwin for Mitchell, who was 30 years old at the time of his arrest, Naisha John Diarra for Robertson, the youngest at 19, and attorney Arlie Gill for Stanislaus, who was 25 years old at the time of his apprehension. Attorney Gill spoke with reporters outside the court following his client's arraignment.
I believe that the arraignment this morning and the guilty pleas, basically they have followed where the evidence have led us at this point. in the sense that the investigations by the officers here in Grenada and those in St. Vincent have been quite thorough. And also, too, the defendants, they have more or less confessed to the offenses as charged. There were only one issue which concerned Atiba Stanislaus and Trevon that we were able to have a meaningful discussion with the learned Director of Public Prosecutions, Nelson King's Counsel. And he was able to, after discussions, agreed to them entering the pleas of guilty for manslaughter, having regard to their lesser role with regards to the death of the deceased persons.
Attorney Edwin also shared his view on the development.
That were entered this morning for manslaughter in the case of Mr. Trevon Robertson and Atiba Stanislaus, and non-capital murder from Mr. Trevon Robertson, justice has met this case. There were a number of other areas of offending, and the judge will sentence at the end of July.
The family of the deceased, represented by Brian Hendry and Suellen Desmarais, was also present in court. All matters have been adjourned to July 29 at 10 a.m. for sentencing. Reporting for GBN News, I am Nisha Paul.
And provide you with regular updates as soon as they are available. Somebody says that a teacher from a particular school was almost raped not very far from that learning institution at 5:30 p.m. Young women need to be aware of predators, and that is a WhatsApp message. See if we have some more of your messages to go through. One is pretty long. I don't know if you have sufficient time to go through this one. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. We'll take at least 2 more calls and then we'll conclude our broadcast. But it says our issues are not resource issues. It's all mindset and vision issues. And another WhatsApp message. It reads there, Tim, this weekend I watched a live video and there aren't enough words to explain it. So disgusting, embarrassing, honestly. Any bit of respect I had gone down the drain. Respect yourself, partner. It is not a game. A person goes on to say, Cuba Rail Road needs some serious attention. Mr. King, Tunnel Road still going. Organize the people. These ministers can honestly do much better. PJP, $5 can still block a hole. Show us which supermarket to go to, please. And let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, Tim, based on the history of this SLP government and the pronouncements by the Prime Minister that we should speculate on issues, he said this because he knows that there will be no accountability. So expecting checks and balances from this government will never happen. So we cannot wait indefinitely for confirmation from them. So speculation is justified in the circumstances. And let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Okay, the person says, hearing you clear on the radio and Radio Garden. Another comment. Okay, let's see if we have can we get a final update from you, Amanda? Final comments extracted from the chat room.
A few comments from earlier in the chat room. Someone says, Tim, caller Dr. Kenny Anthony said it all when he said never ever be surprised by what happens in politics. He knows what he knows and what we do not know. Another comment here reads, the country suffering from the lack of vision and developmental foresight. The SLP doesn't have a plan for the future of this country. Everything is tea boutique. A NewsSpinner says, PJP will tell St. Lucians it's raining, so there's nothing they can do. He has a habit of blaming the rain. Another comment here reads, that's so sad to hear. Growing up, we played in the parking lot of the Grand Riviere Health Center. Nurses there at the time were amazing, Miss Pam and others. Someone says, Tim, since we are not hearing anything from the government on things that we are doing, people will speculate to know the truth. Another comment reads, while watching this documentary by Dale Elliott, I saw so many consultants, professionals. Why do the government have Silas Wilson on this project? A NewsSpinner says here, the St. Lucia Labour Party is reportedly moving forward with plans to fund the construction of a new presidential residence amid speculation that former Justice Mario Mitchell is being positioned as the country's next head of state. With its commanding supermajority in parliament, the SLP is expected to fast-track legislation to transition St. Lucia into a republic ahead of the next general election, potentially installing Mitchell as the nation's first president. Another comment reads, also the opposition has more responsibility than the governing party. Someone says here, while we are busy putting pressure on the opposition, the ruling party is getting a free ride. Another comment reads, the SLP government is basically handing the next general election to the opposition. However, the opposition has been missing several opportunities to capitalize on the SLP's missteps. Another comment reads, but Tim, there is also the possibility that the election results can also be 9-8, and the time is overripe for a crossover from any of the two colors. Just the thoughts. And Tim, someone says here, for the past 3 years, the main focus of the opposition, which in itself is very important. However, there are other major economic issues that affect people's pockets and homes that the opposition is failing to talk about. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much for this. The final update from you, Amanda. And talking about update, the situation over in Team Tetmon Riviere Dore. Remember, we highlighted it during the course of the broadcast last week. And thanks to video footage from HTS television, the fact that the roads there are in a deplorable state. You have craters in the road, and many people find it so difficult to get to their homes, via their vehicles, and they have to undertake the trek by walking. And you have a number of shop owners out there who cannot be provided with certain services. So the people have been suffering for about 30 years, I am told. But finally, in light of that report, which was aired by HTS and also carried here on the NewsSpin program, we understand that the people have reasons to be very hopeful. One individual who is hopeful is one Shireen Mitchell.
Today we have seen a lot of officials coming in. And we have seen them in the past. So I hope this time they will keep their promise to try to fix the road for us. So we can have access to our homes, and our children can walk back and forth on this road to go to school and wherever they have to go. And the vehicles can come to my shop to deliver my goods. Today we have seen a lot of officials coming in. And we have seen them in the past. So I hope this time they will keep their promise to try to fix the road for us. So we can have access to our homes, and our children can walk back and forth on this road to go to school and wherever they have to go. And the vehicles can come to my shop to deliver my goods.
Well, Shireen Mitchell, the responsibility is that of yourself and other residents to continue to apply the pressure on the relevant authorities, in particular the personnel at the Ministry of Infrastructure. It's considered to be an election year. We expect elections during the course of this year, although they are due next year. Apply the pressure right now because they are more likely to pay attention to you and to accede to your request. Here's hoping that this certainly will be carried out in terms of addressing that sore point for residents of Tetmon and Riviere Dore. That's the broadcast. Let's pay attention to our question of the day. The NewsSpin question of the day, it reads, why is the chicken and rum mentality still dominating St. Lucian politics? The question of the day, why is the chicken and rum mentality still dominating St. Lucian politics? Our NewsSpin question of the day. And the NewsSpin news of the day, it reads, Guyana soldiers attacked 3 times in 24 hours amid tensions with Venezuela. Guyana soldiers attacked 3 times in 24 hours amid tensions with Venezuela. This has been the NewsSpin news of the day along with the broadcast, the most monitored talk show in the world. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, and contributing via your discussions in the chat room. Join us tomorrow afternoon, same time at 12:30. Goodbye.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Too often, customers are counted but not valued, like mere numbers, statistics, transactions. But at Flow, we're prioritizing you, our valued customers who have been with us through every milestone, every moment. That's why we're putting our money where your loyalty is. Flow customers claim up to $400 in rewards for smartphones, groceries, and more when you add mobile to your current internet plan, because loyalty is